basically, we could debate on whether or not I lost to noodles. Is that fine, or whether I was going relative to him?
Do CrossFit.
That didn't respond to what I just said. I said we can debate on whether or not I've lost to noodles or went relative to noodles in the conversation.
The topic, right? The topic being
Saying that we can
CrossFit.
do something is not necessarily denying or accepting what I just said. So I'm just asking for an explicit response to what I just said a while ago. You made the claim that I've lost or went relative to noodles. Are you willing to debate on that topic? Yes or no? So wait, you have a claim. You have a claim. Stop over talking me. Stop talking for a second. I'll just let you speak when I'm done talking. You said I went relative to noodles. You said I went relative to noodles, correct?
Yeah, that's based on my anecdotal. Yeah, that's based on my anecdotal.
Anecdotal evidence is your evidence for why I went relative to noodles. Why is it even sufficient evidence?
Look, man, you can't question, man.
You're already stunned. It's like 15 seconds into this conversation, and you're already this stunned.
We can do crossfit.
Why is anecdotes good evidence for your beliefs? You're saying, why are you going around saying I've lost to these people if your only piece of evidence is anecdotes? So it got exposed. I never said you're obligated. You're not obligated to be on Discord either, but you're on Discord right now. You're on Discord right now, right? So what's your point? So why would you base your opinions off anecdotes, you moron? So anyways, now that I got your concession on that part, we can debate on your shitty crossfit topic. Now that I got your concession on that dumb point you made, we can debate on crossfit. That was easy. That took like less than 2 minutes, you trash debater. Now moving on, what crossfit topic do you want to debate on?
Yeah, I'll be taking the back room.
You will take what?
I'll take the back rooms. The back rooms.
Backrooms? Do you think the backrooms beats any character in fiction? Shinner, stop! I'm still talking. Don't try to step into this guy. Do you think the backrooms? Do you think the backrooms defeat any character in fiction?
I don't care to answer that question. I think it's gonna be what character you pick. Like
you said the backrooms versus any character, so you should believe that the backrooms beat any character in fiction, correct?
Yeah, you just can't track. I said I'll be taking the backrooms.
You're just stumbling over your words as you're realizing that there's a massive skill gap between us in this conversation. So what I'm going to actually focus on, is your previous claim.
And then you'll be taking a character, for example, let's say Goku, and I think the backrooms will win the fight, idiot.
How do you know that the character I can pick in the future is going to be someone who is weaker than the backrooms?
I said, for example, Goku. Oh my lord, you can't try.
I know you said, for example, retard. Your claim, when you said you would take the backrooms versus any character, the presupposition, stop talking over me. Stop talking over me. I literally stopped talking mid-sentence for you to continue your sentence. Yes, you can finish your stupid point when I'm done talking, okay? When you say the backroom, start from the background. When you say the backrooms versus any character, the presupposition right there is that there's a level of epistemic confidence that whatever character I'll pick is weaker than the backroom. I'm asking you, what warrants this confidence?
Look, again, you just can't track. Look, I'll be taking the backrooms, right? And I don't know whether they're going to beat your character, but I'm certain that at least they have some sort of ability that.
Yeah, that's a concession. That's a concession. So we can get to conclusions. So basically, you're going to make a proposition, you're going to make a knowledge claim on the backrooms winning, and you don't agree with the idea that you know whether the backrooms will beat my character? That's so retarded. Do you understand that when you're going to say you'll be taking the backrooms, you're basically saying the backrooms versus any other character? You just agreed a while ago on the recording that you don't know if the backrooms beats my character. But that's a necessary condition for it to even win this conversation, moron.
Bro, you're so retarded. You're so retarded. Look, again,
do you think repeating the same insults over and over? Stop interrupting the conversation. Let me just bully this guy for a second, okay? Yeah, you think for some reason I'm the R slur, the retarded slur, is going to make you retardedly dominant. I don't care about your insults. I just care about the counter argument to what I just said a while ago.
Okay, so take a character. Holy shit, you're making this more.
Are you stupid? Do you think it is the case? Do you think it is the case that for it to win this debate, you'd have to know? I haven't even finished the question and you're saying yes already. I haven't even finished the question and you're already saying yes. Are you stupid?
Bro, you're so retarded.
What is my question? What is my most recent question? Oh, maybe if I spam the R slur and I call him retarded, people are gonna think I'm winning the argument. Oh wow, I'm winning because I'm calling the Paul retarded. What a great counter argument, son. Could you repeat back to me my question, please? What is my question? What is my question?
I don't care to answer that. So can you take a character?
You don't even know my question, you autist. So I'm going to repeat the
Wait,
question,
how
okay?
does that
Hey, wait,
follow?
is it the
How does that
case?
follow? Me
Could you
saying
stop
that I
over
don't care
talking
to
me?
answer it
Stop
does not
talking
mean
for a
that I
second,
don't know
son.
it yet. So look, again,
But
can
it
you
is
take a
evidence for
can
you
you
not
take a
knowing it,
character?
retard. It is evidence for
Pick
it
a
because it is
character
more
against the
expected
back
under
room,
you
so then we can
answering the
begin the
question
debate.
that you don't know the question. It is
Oh
more
Lord, this
expected,
guy
therefore there will
is
be evidence
so
for it.
fucking
So anyways,
stupid. Again,
retard,
look, pick
retard,
a
I
character,
want you to pay attention, okay?
character,
Is it the
pick a
case
character
that
against
for
the
you to
back
win
room.
this debate, you'd have to know that your character beats
Oh
my
my God,
character? Yes or no?
you're an
Yes or
idiot.
no?
Again, I
The
don't
answer is
think
yes.
that.
The answer is
Look,
yes. You'd have
pick
to
a
know
character,
that your character beats my
pick a character,
character for it to win this
pick a character.
debate, but you just said you
Look,
don't even know this. So that's an
oh my,
automatic
you're
concession,
so
moron.
retarded,
What
bro.
is your counter
Fuck,
argument? What is your
you
counter
can't
argument?
properly. Look,
Saying someone
again,
can't track is not a counter argument, by the way. We're waiting for an
never said
actual
that.
valid counter argument.
You're an
You
actual
said you
idiot.
don't know if your
Okay,
character
how
beats
are you
my
serious?
character for the
You're
future.
so retarded.
You don't even know what character I'm going to
You're
pick, so I'm going to make the
actual idiot.
confident
Look,
claim that you're going to
Apollo,
be defending your
again,
position,
I'm taking the
retard.
back rooms. Pick a character from fiction
When
and
you're
we can
saying you're going to
debate.
be taking a character, the presupposition there is that whatever character that I'm going to pick loses to your character. So I'm asking you, how do you know your character beats my character from the future? And you said you don't know this. So that's an automatic
Again, look,
concession on your
no,
behalf,
look,
retard.
I said they have
Why do you have to
one that they're
sentence the
going to
look
pick.
three
Dumbass.
times
Oh my lord,
instead
you're
of
so
actually
stupid.
responding to my point?
How did
Every single
look? Do you
time,
want
your only means
look?
of
Do you want?
responding is by calling me a retard, saying I'm
Do you want?
stupid, because you have no sort of creative retorts to
You
actually
want to
just the
conclude?
argument I'm giving
Look,
right
do you
now.
want
It's
to conclude? Do you
just
want to
so
conclude? Do you want to
embarrassing.
conclude? Do you want to conclude? Do you want to
I'm
conclude?
waiting for an actual counter
Do you want to
argument,
conclude?
son.
Do you want to
What
conclude?
do you
Do you
think
want
the
to conclude?
debate proposition is,
You,
by
you,
the way, of this
you to
debate?
conclude. Oh, I can't this guy. Look, do you want to
Do
conclude?
you conclude?
To conclude?
What do you think the debate
Do you
proposition
want to move
is?
into conclusions?
I'm
I'm not
asking
gonna
you a
answer any
question,
questions.
retard.
Yeah, look, I
I'm
don't care
trying to
to
confirm
answer it.
if
I
you're
just want
even
to conclude.
justified in going to
Look,
conclusions.
you're so retarded. I can't with you.
This
Look,
guy's
do you
like
want to
so
conclude? Yes or no?
autistic. Holy shit.
Do you want to conclude? Yes or no? Do you want to
So
conclude?
are
Yes or
you
no?
going to just my question?
Yeah, look, it seems to be the case that you just can't pick character because you know you're bad at fiction. So do you want to conclude? Yes or no? I don't want to continue the
You know,
conversation. You're
you're
an
bad
idiot.
at fiction. Is that supposed to be a flex or something? Am I supposed to be good at fiction
Look,
debating?
you're
Is
an
this something
idiot.
worthy
Look,
of
so do you
being?
want to conclude? Yes or no?
I'm
Look,
an
do you want to
idiot
conclude?
because
Yes or
someone
no?
is bad at fiction. Someone doesn't know
Look,
fiction power
again,
scaling. Are you
yes,
stupid?
you're an idiot on fiction. You
Yes.
can't debate
How
me
does it follow from
walkie-talkie.
someone that
So
knows
look,
fiction power scaling that they're unintelligent?
yeah, so do you want to
Look at him
conclude? Yes
dodge
or no?
again. Look at him
Ritual.
dodge again. I precogged it. I literally predicted you're gonna dodge my
How are you
question.
this
How is it
stupid?
the case that someone not
Look,
being good at fiction
right?
power
I don't
scaling
think I
emblematic
don't
of
think
them
you've
being
asked anything,
unintelligent? Answer the
and I
question.
don't think you're good
Answer
at
the
debating.
question. Answer the
Let's
question.
conclude. If you're
What sort of
confident in what you
intelligence
think
does
you've
it
lost
take
this
to be good
discussion.
at fiction power scaling? What sort
Look,
of intelligence does it take to
why?
be good
If
at
you think
fiction
you look
power
good at this
scaling?
conversation, you think you
Yeah,
look
I
good at
take
this
a
conversation.
concession at that point. Now, moving
All
on.
right.
Since you're
You want to
unwilling to
conclude?
actually address that question, which is actually going to be
Look, look,
directly
look,
responsive
look.
to your
Let's move on to
claim.
conclusions.
Look,
But
look, look,
idiot,
look,
let's
look,
move on to
look, look, look,
conclusions.
sonny boy. You're not looking
Idiot,
good
let's
in the
move on to
conversation.
conclusions.
Now,
Idiot, let's
again, I
move on to
want you to
conclusions.
address what
Let's
I'm
move on to
saying and
conclusions.
stop being a retard, okay? Now, listen up,
Let
sonny
us
boy.
move
Lock
on
the
to
fucking
conclusions.
dipshit.
This
Lock
conversation
in,
is not
dipshit.
going anywhere.
Lock
This
in,
conversation
dipshit.
is not
Lock
going
in, dipshit.
anywhere, right?
Now, I'm telling you that you cannot make the claim that you don't know if your character, which is the back rooms, beats my character, which is a claim you made verbatim. Because when you're saying you'll take the back rooms, a presupposition right there is that you
Oh
have
my
evidence for that
lord.
claim,
Yo,
which would
look,
be
if you think
indicative
you
of
look good,
knowledge.
let's
Stop
conclude.
crashing out mid
Let's
sentence, dude.
conclude.
Oh
Look,
my lord, stop
I'd
crashing
rather
out, dude.
debate. I'd rather debate you at this point.
Okay,
Look, you want to
so
conclude?
I'm pretty certain, just based off this conversation, what has happened during this little debate of ours, it's pretty obvious
All
this
right,
guy's
you're
not
an
even
idiot. Look,
qualified to
look,
even be a
you're
tier
so
9 debater
trash. How
because
are
he
you a
doesn't even know
debater?
the
All right,
basic
let's move on to
requirements
conclusions,
of even
buddy.
making a
Let's move on
knowledge
to
claim.
conclusions, buddy. Let's move
Every single time I make a
on.
sentence, you're like, "Oh my lord, oh it's retarded." You keep on crashing
No,
out
you're
mid
so
sentence. You have
stupid.
no
You
sort
can't
of creative
actually debate
retorts. You have
yourself.
no
Look,
creative rhetorical comebacks. It's just so sad.
Paul, if you think you've actually beat me in this
If
conversation,
if
do you want
if
to
if if
conclude?
if 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 if
There was no
if
stutter
stop
there. You're an
stumbling over your
idiot.
fucking
Oh,
words. I
so it seems
just
to be the case
pointed
that you
out the
don't want
stutter.
to
You
move
said
on to
if you
conclusions. You're an
think
idiot. You
that's a
can't debate.
stutter.
Look, let's
That's literally a stutter, you moron.
idiot.
What are you
Let's
talking
conclude,
about?
idiot.
You
Let's
don't even
conclude,
know the
idiot.
meaning
Let's conclude,
of the word
idiot. Let's
stutter, you
conclude.
dumb fuck. That's
Let's
literally by
conclude, idiot.
definition
Let's
a
look,
stutter.
idiot.
You mispronounced the
Do you
words and
want to
tripped over
conclude?
your words, you dumb autist.
Yeah,
Now
look,
again,
you
I'm
never
gonna
conclude.
ask
Yeah,
you
you're
this:
an idiot.
do you have a counter
Let's
argument to what I just said, or are you
let's
willing
conclude,
to
buddy.
concede this debate if
Let's
you're ready for joiner?
conclude. Let's conclude. Let's
Let's
conclude. Yeah.
conclude, as he says. because he's attempting to run away from the conversation
Bro,
right now. Are we gonna address my argument? Are we gonna address my argument? And then now he does the typical "oh my god" crash out with the fake laughs, thinking that he's gonna convince people who's watching this conversation that he's winning. And then now he pulls out "you're retarded" comeback. Who? Couldn't he have thought of something even more creative?
It's easy to tell that you are. So do you want to conclude?
Is this supposed to be a counter argument, son? You're retarded? That's your counter argument?
Oh my God, this guy,
Okay, so that's not. Wait, so you can see that's not a counter argument, gotcha. So just to be clear, that was not a counter argument. Therefore, it's a red herring, right?
So fucking
you don't want to debate me? Is this a duck session? Because you can get banned from the server for all this. You can get banned from the server for being unwilling to debate some of your shit talking, by the way. So it's either you get banned from the server for ducking or continue engaging with this debate right now. Which one is it? Oh, so this is a debate. Okay, cool. So why did you say you don't want to debate me while debating me, retard? That makes no sense.
No. Look, we're debating right now.
You're tripping over yourself right now. Bro, it's so bad for you to the point where you're like in the chat saying Apollo, you're so stupid. Like you can't even give a proper verbal response. You're in the text realm right now because you can't even keep up verbally. You can't even keep up vocally. This is crazy. So look, I'm gonna give you another shot. I'm gonna give you another shot and not looking like a complete retard, okay? Are you going to respond to my argument? Yes or no?
Yeah, but let's conclude. You're an idiot.
Is this supposed to be a counter argument?
Yeah, let's conclude. You're an idiot.
When you say let's conclude, is that your counter argument what they just said?
No, I'm not claiming that's a counter argument, so let's conclude.
Oh, so it's another counter argument. So in other words, you did not give a counter argument to what you said previously. So you did not give a response to what I said previously, but for some reason you believe that you're winning this debate. You think it's stupid?
When I asked you to pick a character against the
okay, what's the justification for this claim?
No, I don't care to answer. I don't care to give the justification for it.
So you have no justification for your claims. You don't care to give justification for claims you're making in the debate.
Look, you saying that I don't want to is different from me saying that I can. Or if there is,
I'm not saying you're saying you can't. I'm saying you're not doing it. The fact of you not doing it is sufficient for you to lose this point because you're not fulfilling your probative burden, retard. You not fulfilling your burden of proof is going to be automatic on this point because you're not fulfilling your burden of proof. What are you talking about?
You're so retarded, bro. Why do you just want to stick on this?
That's not the counter argument, retard. Give a counter argument.
I don't care to give a counter argument. You're fucking stupid.
So you don't care to give a counter argument. You don't care to give any evidence, but you think you're winning this debate? Are you stupid? Stun knocks, no response. That was so embarrassing. Like you have no retorts right now. You're just lost for words. Is this a counter argument to what my argument was previously?
So do you want to conclude?
That's not a counter argument. Give a counter argument.
I don't care to give a counter argument.
I don't give a counter argument.
There's no stutter there. You're just making one up.
I just mimics your stutter. I don't. That's a stutter. Now again, give a counter argument. This guy would literally stutter 2 seconds ago and then proceed to say that he did not stutter because he has short-term memory loss and a goldfish brain. Now again, I'm going to ask you one more time, okay? Do we have a counter argument to my argument in response to me basically stating that you conceded this conversation by default? Yes or no?
Do you have a
counter argument? Yes or no?
Wait. Do you guys want moderation? Do you guys want moderation?
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to mute Sakazuki first of all to control the VC.
Let's give moderation.
Okay, alright. So I'm just gonna
Sir Merchant, can you just moderate this debate, please?
Yeah, you want stick moderation?
Yeah, we can do talking stick. Yes, that would be lovely. I'm willing to do talking stick. That's fine. When he's talking, you can mute me, and when I'm talking, you mute him, okay? I agree with that, definitely.
Look, you're an idiot.
Look at him running. He doesn't even want to do talking stick. He's so scared.
No,
he's so scared to actually talk to you right now. Bullshit.
Right? He literally can't hear Zeni. He's like incomprehensible.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Is this Zeni?
Yeah.
This is Zeni?
Apollo, you're so retarded, bro. I just want to conclude.
Wait, is this Zeni?
Yes, it is the Zeni, and you're retarded, bro.
This is the same guy who came to me for theology lessons and conceded to me. What the actual fuck? You're actually terrible. If I had known you were Zeni the entire time for the past week, I'd have never even taken you seriously, even called you out. You're literally pissed, bro. What the fuck? Like, this is actually crazy. But there is fact to this. Consider it. As if artists are to debating you right now. We can do the talking stick stuff. We can do the talking
Yeah,
sticks.
sure,
Let's
sure,
go.
sure, 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 sure.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
first, Sonny boy. Go first, son.
All right, look. Can you give a response to my question, which was, is there a character that you can pick against the backrooms? So I want to say,
Whether or not I direct response to this question is irrelevant because you stated in this conversation, you stated verbatim, that you don't know if your character beats my character. This is on the record, and you've said this word for word. So whichever character that I pick, okay, if you're going to concede to you not knowing if you would beat my character, your character would beat my character, then by default, you'd have to concede your own proposition because we're going to say you're going to take the backrooms versus any character. A presupposition and implication from that statement right there is that you know that the backrooms would beat the character that I'll pick in the future. But you just said you don't even know this proposition. Because, again, if I'm going to make a claim, and I think I have evidence for that claim, I'm going to be committed to a knowledge claim. You retracted your own knowledge claim in virtue. You stated that you don't even know if your character would beat my character. So you automatically lost this debate, quote unquote, before I even picked a character.
yeah, so CrossFit battle just when two characters go up against each other in the CrossFit debate where two debaters pick one character and they go up against each other. Right? I said that I don't know the character that you're picking, but I'm certain that the backrooms has a win con against him, right? And you just failed to track that and kept saying that I don't know which character you're gonna pick. You're an idiot. So look, can you pick a character to go up against the backrooms? Yes or no?
Notice how he did not respond to the incompatibility between him saying that he'll pick the backrooms versus any character, which indicates that he believes that the backrooms would beat any character I would pick, and then him stating afterwards that he does not know if the backrooms would beat my character. This is a contradiction. You can't say you pick the backrooms versus any character I pick, which is emblematic of you believing that you have evidence for the claim that the backrooms would beat my character. And you stated afterwards that you don't know if the backrooms would beat my character. So again, that's a direct logical contradiction. Now, are you going to resolve the contradiction by at least conceding that, again, you don't know one of these two propositions? Or are you willing to accept the contradiction and forfeit this debate itself?
Okay, again, it seems to be the case that you just cannot track at all, right? I said that I'm certain that the backrooms has a win con against any character, but I'm not certain if they. Bro, where'd he go? All right, there he is. But look, I said I'm not certain if they could beat a character because you haven't given a character at all, right? So, can you give a character to go up against the backrooms? If not, let's conclude because I don't want to continue this debate.
Yeah, so notice how he just went on to ramble on about the fact that I've not picked a character. Or you don't pick a character yet. Again, I'm stating that none of this is relevant to the contradiction I've exemplified a while ago. You can cry about the meta. You can say, oh, this is meta. But guess what? It is actually so crazy to me how you guys are crying about meta and so forth. But this is just entailments of his own fucking claims. Again, even if we're not debating CrossFit specifically and so far as I'm power scaling, the point of the fucking matter is simply that you can state that you pick the backrooms versus any character that I would pick, which indicates that you believe that the backrooms would beat my character, whichever character I would pick, and then subsequently concede that you don't know if the backrooms would beat my character. That's a direct logical contradiction. It doesn't matter from what perspective you're looking at this, it's just a contradiction. Now, it's either he acknowledges the contradiction, or he's going to repeatedly say that, oh, I just wanted to pick a character, which is not even a response to what I'm saying, which by the way would be indicative of him not even respond to my counter argument currently, which is automatic concession or forfeit, the burden of rejoinder. So it's either one of these two things, right? And we can just end the debate right here. That's it.
Bye. Yeah, guys.
Yeah, by the way, I haven't made the claim that the backrooms can be any character. I said that I'll be taking the backrooms against the character that you pick, right? You're so retarded, you just can't track a simple debate, and you actually think you look good in this conversation. So let's conclude.
Wait,
You're so stupid, bro. Fuck. You're an idiot.
Yeah, so notice how he changed the claim. He changed to a new claim, which is that I never said I'll take the backrooms, or the backrooms would beat any character. You said verbatim, you'll take the backrooms versus any character, Okay? Clearly, if you're going to take a particular character, you're committed to the belief that said character would beat that other character. And so if you said verbatim on the recorder, which you did by the way, that you will take the backrooms versus any character, then by default you're committed to the claim that you believe the backrooms would take or would beat any character. That's just an entailment of what you were saying previously. Because when you're saying we pick a particular character versus a different character, the automatic insinuation right there is that you believe that said character beats that other character. And so the same logic applies to this case scenario, where you're stating that you take backrooms versus any character, which again, I'm going to repeat one more time, you look like you dumb fuck, would be indicative of you believing that the backrooms would beat any character. What's the point of you taking the backrooms versus any character if you don't believe the backrooms beat any character, you moron? That's the whole point of taking the character. So again, if you want to retract that claim and lie about it, like a little rat, then you can do that and then move on to the new claim, which is that you'll take the backrooms and not specify the fact that you take that character versus any character. Or you can just acknowledge the contradiction and acknowledge the fact that you did in fact make this claim, and that would result in you conceding via an acknowledgement of a clear contradiction in your argumentation.
Yeah, hello, am I muted or am I unmuted? All right, by the way, look. Let's just conclude, Apollo. You just can't track. You can debate for shit. This whole debate, you've just been meta debating, right? You know, go on to other points. Just get to rambling about things I've never said. I've claimed that the backrooms, or I said that I'll be taking the backrooms versus your character. You interpret that somehow to be the backroom versus any character, and that I think the backrooms can be any character, right? You're an idiot, so let's conclude. You're so fucking retarded, bro. Oh, holy shit. Also, stop running away from conclusions since you know you lost this point.
Ooh, bro. Anyways, let's debate, man.
Yeah, sure, shit. No,
Yeah, it's
you go your
pronounced
turn.
retarded, not retarded, by the way. But again, you notice how you changed the claim again. Well, I still will take the vacuums versus your character. That's fucking crazy because of the recording if you saying otherwise. Now look again. If you want to say that you believe the backrooms beat Goku, then I can just take this position. I can just take a character which is Goku and ask you if you believe it to be the case that you have evidence for the backrooms beats in Goku.
Yeah. Are you done speaking?
Someone not speaking
Because
is
I don't
indicative
think that
of them
was
being
look,
on their point.
because you haven't been muted by the moderator named Mercury
Yeah,
here.
stop stuttering.
So
Just give
I continue speaking. Also, there was no stutter. But look, again, right? You just somehow interpreted my statement of the versus the backrooms can be anyone, which I've never claimed, right? You're an idiot. You're schizorambling. Let's conclude. Right? Let's conclude.
This guy did not hear the part where I said I'll pick Goku and ask him if he believes he has evidence for that claim. Is he stupid? Do you have evidence for that claim that backwards beat Goku? Yes or no?
All right. If you want to debate, okay, look, let's conclude on this point, and then we can move on to Backman versus Goku.
Oh
Okay,
my
give your
God.
conclusions, retard.
Yeah, so do you want
No,
to?
give your conclusion.
I'm not gonna sum up the points. I don't really care to. But yeah, now we can begin the actual cross-verse debate finally. All
Yeah,
right.
then I'll just
Anyways,
give
I
my
think that the
conclusion.
background.
So my conclusion on that point, just shut up, retard. I'm still talking. Okay, don't talk. So my conclusions on that point is simply that he started off this conversation by stating that it is the case that the backrooms are the backrooms versus any character. Obviously, if we're gonna say any character, that's a universal claim. You think that for any character I'd pick, you'll take the backrooms versus that character. Okay. Now, then afterwards, he then agreed that he does not know if the backrooms will beat my character, which, by the way, is entailed from him taking the position that the backrooms will beat my character. Right? If you're going to take a position in a debating context, then clearly you're committed to the claim that the backrooms, right, or that claim specifically is backed by evidence, and you know that claim to be correct. But then he agreed afterwards. He does not know that claim to be correct. He does not have knowledge on the claim specifically, which is that the backrooms would beat any character or my character. So that's an automatic performative and logical contradiction right there, which I've exemplified on numerous different occasions. And on numerous different occasions, he has not addressed this pretty obvious, conspicuous contradiction. And then you have the butt boys in the freaking side chat, just hyping up and shit because they're coping. And that's fine, right? We have the recording rights here. The recording of this guy fucking himself up because he's a low-tier dog water debater who cannot track conversations properly. So moving on to the new point, okay? I picked a character which is Goku. And so I asked him the question, which is, does he have evidence for Goku debaters?
Yes, I think.
Sorry about the background noise. I'm outside, by the way, but I was just gonna repeat the last question.
Dude,
the
he's
last question
debating
was simply,
outside.
Of course I am. Why not? Outside is pretty nice. Again, I was just gonna say I asked him the question, which is, does he have evidence for his character beating Goku because he's making the claim that backrooms would beat any character. So, do you have evidence for this claim? And if so, present the evidence.
Yeah, man. Finally, we've gone to the fucking meat and potatoes of the debate. Holy shit, it's just been a while. Alright, so look, I'll just give the evidence for my character beating yours. Alright, so I think that the backrooms, let's do it, I don't argue first. I think they have the concept of creation. I think they can create stuff, right? And I think they can also manipulate the concept of. Hello?
Yeah, so did he present the evidence for why Goku loses the backrooms?
Yeah, I already sent it. Yeah, so my character.
Okay, what's the argument? Premise one?
I don't think I have to give it in like a formal way. So look, again, my character
can
just give himself
infinite
stats. I don't care to do it like that. So look, again, my character can just give themselves infinite stats, and since they have infinite strength, and infinite speed, they just speed blitz and punch a character out of existence. That's it.
Just like run down the claims you're making so far. Okay, so first and foremost, you said that you don't care if people have valid arguments. That's one blunder. Second blunder is you actually not even exemplifying how it is something which is entailed, or rather something which is more likely given what you've said, that your position is correct. So let's focus on the first blunder. What do you mean by you don't care if you have a valid argument for your claim in this conversation?
Yeah, I don't think I have to give a premise to conclusion argument. To
do you think you have a valid argument?
I don't care to give it because the claim I'm making is that
I'm not asking for a formalized argument.
Yes,
you can have a valid argument in an informal manner.
Mercury, can you meet him? This guy's an idiot. Oh my god, bro. But yeah, my character can beat yours because they could just give themselves infinite stats and just punch a character out of existence. Do you disagree with that, yes or no?
Yeah, so this guy construed a valid argument as something which is necessarily indicative of that person presenting the formal argument. This is just basic argumentation theory 101. You can have an argument which is formally invalid but is logically valid. I'm asking you, do you have a valid argument in the logical sense? And so I'm asking you again, do you commit to this belief? Yes or no?
Look, bro, do you actually want to debate me on the topic? Because all you've been trying to do this whole time was meta debate. I think that my character can just punch a character out of existence. Look, because they can just give themselves infinite stats and infinite speed, right? Because they commit up the concept of infinity, and then they just go ahead and just punch Goku, and then Goku dies, bro. Like, that's all that's happening. Engage with that claim, you fucking retard.
Why should I care about that claim if you've not established how it follows from this claim that your position is correct? If you cannot establish how your argument is valid, right? If the evidence for your position is valid, then you automatically lost by default because you have no good evidence. In debates, whereas you're actually talking about whether or not a claim is correct or not, it doesn't matter if it's an anime debate or a political debate or a philosophical debate, you have to have a strong argument for that claim. Whether or not the argument is probabilistic or it's a deductively valid argument, to which you have not, committed to any of these two types of argumentation. You have not established how a probabilistically strong argument, and you have not established how you conduct a valid argument. So, in other words, we have no reason whatsoever to accept your claim over the opposing claim, and so it looks really bad for you just optically speaking.
Yeah, so it just seems to be the case that you're just not interacting with the argument I've given, and the claim that my character just beats yours because of the scan. You haven't questioned the scan, so you just want to conclude? You conclude on this point once again, and I'll just give more evidence later on for other things.
Do you think you posted the scan as evidence or no?
Do you think the scan I posted is evidence? No, but it helped, but it reaffirms the position that my
Reaffirm.
character. Yes, it would reaffirm it.
Also,
It would give. Yeah, because well, if the scan is true, then my character can do X thing.
why is the
No, look,
conditional
the
sentence
scan
true?
isn't. Bro, you said why is the scan true? Yeah, because everything that's written within the backrooms is true.
Hey, sir. Hello.
Alright, do you want me to send? Do you want me to send that? If so, I'll send it real quick.
Oh my God, it's so funny how you talk about someone not tracking, and then this is your performance right. Look,
All right,
I was
here.
asking
Look,
for
text
you to
scan. So right
demonstrate.
here.
You're talking over me. What's going on? Are
Yes.
you getting muted right now?
Right.
Yeah. So,
No,
Merc, just
because
mute the doggy real
I
quickly.
wasn't
Okay.
done.
So I'm still talking. So again, I just wanted to make something really clear. Okay. Now, I was asking you to demonstrate the veracity of the conditional sentence, right? What you did not do, so that's just dodge number one. Now, moving on to the other point, okay? You repeatedly evade the question I've asked you on numerous occasions regarding whether or not you have an argument which shows why your claim is more likely, or you have an argument which shows why your claim is necessarily true given the evidence. You have not shown any sort of retorts or responses to that question. So if you have neither of these options, or rather, if you don't satisfy any of these options, then you don't have evidence for your claim. Your claim goes unproven, unsubstantiated, and guess what? You would lose by default. You'd have to consider your own claim. So, do you have an argument that shows why your claim is more likely, or why it is the case that it follows from that said data that your claim would have to be correct? And if so, demonstrate to me what that argument would look like.
Yeah. So look, you just haven't attacked the argument I've just given. You can't track. You're an idiot. Let's conclude. Let's conclude.
So notice how his response to what I said is that you can't track. You're an idiot. You're retarded. That's not the counter argument. That's just a whole bunch of ad homs, right? So again, usually when someone gives an argument for why you do not have evidence for a claim, what you do instead is attack the premises of said argument and not just respond by saying the person is not tracking and we can conclude. Okay. So again, I'm gonna give you another shot at this. What is your counter argument to me? Your question, or rather me pointing out the absence of probabilistic or deductively valid arguments in favor of your position.
Look, I've already given the argument. You just can't track. You're an idiot. Let's conclude. Look, I've already given. Look, all I said was that anything within the backrooms would be true. Therefore, the scan would be true, right? You just didn't interact with the argument, and you went on to just like start rambling about fucking probability and deductive arguments. So, do you just want to conclude? Because you haven't interacted with the argument. You haven't like talked at all.
Yeah. So
Also, that
first
is
and foremost, I liked how someone misquoted me in the chat, and this is just like the tracking thunder of despair because no one has ever said on this recording, "Why is this scan true?" So yeah, this is what happens when you're black and you're British. You have a low IQ. But to respond to what you're saying now, Zeni, now I'm saying that the claim you're making, the predominant primary claim you're making and you're taking in this debate, is that Goku loses the backroom character. I'm asking you for a probabilistic argument or a sound argument which exemplifies the veracity of that claim, okay? So whatever you're saying right now does not indicate that the claim that you're taking for this debate is correct. So could you present a probabilistic or sound argument for said claim? Yes or no?
Yeah, you're so retarded. I can't look. You're an actual idiot. Um, I've already given the reason as to why I think the backrooms would beat your character, right? And all you said was, "Can you give the argument? Can you give the argument?" The argument is there. You just couldn't track it. So again, do you want to conclude? Yes or no? Let's conclude, bro.
It's funny because the first time I gave the argument, or rather a question, as to why he has to present a probabilistically strong argument or a sound argument for his claim. His only responses, and I repeat, his only responses, and this is on the recording, by the way. Doesn't matter what the biased that's in the chat thinks. The recording disproves what they think. His only response is, "You're an idiot. You're retarded. You're an idiot." That's not an argument, Sandy. I'm not sure if you know what an argument is, but an argument is not just merely calling someone a retard or an idiot. An argument is actually some given fact or set of facts which demonstrates the falsity of another claim, which you have not done. You have not shown why you've given a probabilistically strong argument or a deductively sound argument for the claim that Goku loses the backrooms. And I repeat, that's your claim. You're taking the position that the backrooms beat Goku. Now, if you have not shown any sort of data which raises the probability of this claim over the opposing claim, nor have you shown any data which entails your claim being correct, then you have not presented evidence by definition. So that would mean you have lost this debate. Now, again, I'm going to give you one advice as a much better debater, right? I'm just going to give you a protest. The next response you should give should be in the form of a probabilistically strong argument for the claim and the position you're taking in this debate, or a deductively sound argument, and not just a whole bunch of blabber of you insulting me, saying I can't track and that I'm retarded. Okay, monkey boy? Or monkey man, whatever. Call you monkey boy because, you act like monkey boy in some sense. You're both retarded. But anyways, give a response.
Yeah, so since Zeni wants to conclude, Apollo, are you fine with giving conclusions for your 2 next turns?
Well, I'm going to ask him if his conclusion or him requesting for conclusion is a probabilistically strong argument or a deductively sound argument for the claim he made previously. Is that the case, Zeni? And if so, and if not, could you point me to where he presented any of these sort of arguments for the claim he made, which is that the back rooms would be Goku?
You're so, look. This whole debate, you've just been like respond. You've just been skits around like about monkeys. Formal arguments, probability, and whatnot. Look, I've literally just said like 5 things, right? Number one, that my character can live the constant affinity, and if they can do that, then they could just give themselves infinite stats, and if they can do that, then they just have infinite strength and infinite speed and just blow Goku's head off, right? Um, and number 2, yes. Well, then why would this scam be true? I've sent a link that said that anything within the back rooms would be true, right? And if that's the case, then the scan would be true. The scan that they come up with the constant affinity, and you just couldn't be able to track that. Started rambling about fucking probability and whatnot. You just never like really attack the argument that I've given. You're like all around just a bad debater. You're an idiot. Let's conclude. Actually, that was my conclusion. It's my fault. That was a bad blunder.
That was cool, Zeni.
And thank you, man. Thank you, buddy.
You can't say that someone is a bad debater when you came to them for theology lessons and you conceded to them on theology, by the way. But that's like really crazy. But moving on from this, you'd have to show why that argument you've just given is a valid argument, right? And by the way, when someone asks for a valid argument, right, something being a valid argument does not mean you have to formalize the argument. You just have to show why it is the case that it follows logically from the set of premises being presented or the set of reasons being presented that the claim that you're taking to be correct is in fact correct, okay? And that does not require formality whatsoever, and I've specified this. I told you I was not requesting for a formal argument. I was requesting for a valid argument. So you can have valid arguments which are informally dumb fucking like you victim. So now moving on from that, right? Again, for anyone who knows that evidence actually is an argumentation theory, what qualifies as evidence is that which raises the likelihood of a given claim being correct, or that which demonstrates why a claim has to be correct. If you have not satisfied any of these 2 conditions, then you have not presented evidence by default. So you'd have to show that that monkey ramble fest that you've done in the last part of the speech monologue, right, is an actual valid argument. You'd have to show why the scan being true, which supposedly grants your character these abilities, would actually be something which entails that it would be the case that that character would be Goku, which you have not done. You just made the claim that if this is true, then this would happen. But that does not prove that that specific conditional sentence is in fact correct. So could you present a argument why the conditional sentence would be correct?
Yeah, you're supposed to give your conclusions on what happened in the debate, but I just like say one more thing about this, and then we can just end the rec here because you're an idiot. Well, number one, why do I have to give a valid argument? Right, I don't see the reason why I have to give a valid argument. I could, or I could, or I couldn't. I don't need to give one. Number 2, you just never really attacked, the claim about anything within the background being canon, and if so, then everything that I said would follow from that. Yeah, and if that's the case, then look, everything you just said was nigger babble. You just never really, give an argument against what I've said. You've not given a counter argument. You haven't given a rebuttal. You haven't done anything. So let's conclude. That was just the last part of the debate.
But I thought you guys gave conclusions 10 turns ago.
Yeah, we were supposed to,
I've
and then you
not given
started
conclusions yet,
you
but is he done speaking?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, you
so
talk?
Apollo, you can just give your conclusion right now if Zeni goes on mute.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so hold on. I'll just give my conclusions. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, just to be clear for the recording, he made a bunch of claims that like if the scan is true, then it would grant his character set amount of or type of abilities, which would basically result in vocal moves into the back rooms. Now, I've asked him on numerous occasions for an argument for why those conditional sentences are true, right? And those arguments can come in two forms.